Hey, Richard Bryce here, Tennis Hacker. In this video, I want to explain the secret to developing a high-level forehand. And it's probably going to be very different to what you might be expecting, especially if you've watched lots of other YouTube videos, because there isn't a specific trick or technique or thing that's the secret to developing a high-level forehand. The true secret is understanding the process involved in learning and developing new habits. And the way that I want to illustrate this is by showing you some of my own practice and showing you what I'm working on at the moment. Now, I'm naturally a right-handed player, but unfortunately I injured myself in a mountain bike crash, so now I'm relearning to play left-handed, obviously trying to become the best player that I can. I've got to a decent level. I'm playing at kind of a 4.5 level. I'm very consistent, but on my forehand I don't have the ability to attack. So I focused on developing consistency first, because not making silly mistakes is the priority. But then for me to be able to move up to the next level, I really need to have the ability to generate my own pace and to put easier balls away. So that's what I'm trying to work on at the moment. But the way that I'm going about that is by applying foundational principles, analyzing where my stroke is going on wrong at the moment and focusing on fixing underlying problems. And that's exactly what you need to do as well. You need to record yourself, ideally in match play, so you can get an honest impression of what's happening when you're under pressure, and you need to figure out where things are going wrong. Because for you to develop a high-level forehand, it might be a 6 month to a year process. If you're more advanced, maybe you just need to focus on being more relaxed with your wrist or some advanced concept to do with a forehand. But potentially, if you're a little bit lower down in terms of the level, it might be a 5 to 10 year process for you to really develop a high-level forehand. And you need to be okay with that. You need to work out what's going wrong at the moment, and you need to focus on that. If you concentrate on the advanced stuff that's not applicable to you, you're just going to end up spinning your wheels and not really getting anywhere. You need to work out what's going wrong at the moment, and that might mean that you need to focus on trying to read the flight of the ball more quickly and effectively. Maybe you need to focus on your split step, your footwork, your spacing, your movement to the ball, maybe getting a good quality unit term. It's a case of whatever you need to work on at the moment, that's the thing that you have to prioritize, and then you have to structure your practice in the right way to enable you to get repetitions at the right level of difficulty to gradually move you up the spectrum from where you are now more towards having a high-level forehand. So technically, the thing that I'm really focusing on at the moment to try and take my forehand to the next level is trying to use my kinetic chain more effectively. But what that means is I need to get a better loading of my outside leg, my left leg. For the first couple of years when I was working on my forehand, it was all about the spacing. So yes, I was trying to prepare, but I was predominantly focusing on setting up the right position from the ball, because as a right-handed player with a one-handed backhand, my spacing was much closer. Now that I'm playing left-handed, I have to be much further away from the ball, and I'm also just not as familiar with hitting from an open stance, because that's not something I did off my left leg with a one-handed backhand. But now I've got to the point that my spacing is reasonable most of the time. I'm trying to add that next layer on, but I'm still focusing on preparation. Like a lot of other players, I have a tendency to arm the ball a little bit when I'm trying to hit with power, but the reason I'm arming the ball is because I'm not preparing effectively enough. I wasn't loading my left leg properly. I wasn't rotating quite enough with my upper body, but that was mainly due to not loading my left leg properly. So that's what I'm focusing on in my practice. So what I mean by loading my left leg or my outside leg is this part here. I'm trying to store energy in this leg. So I'm trying to bend it, but I'm also trying to rotate my belly button in that direction. I'm trying to internally rotate my hip, because in order to create the racket head speed, to use your kinetic chain, you're going to be driving the hip forwards. So the hip is going to be going back into external rotation, and if I want to be able to go back into external rotation, I need to have internally rotated my hip initially, and that's what I wasn't doing very well. I wasn't getting this loading phase here. So yes, if you look at the preparation, there are certain key features. I've got my elbow away from my side a little bit. You might be doing that, or potentially you might have your elbow in a different position. Doesn't matter so much. I've got my racket tip pointing in that direction. Again, that doesn't matter so much. But what does matter is what happens with this leg. Do you load it? Do you twist your torso enough? because those are the things that then allow you to drive through your hip by throwing the hip forwards to start using the kinetic chain. And that's what I wasn't doing effectively before. I wasn't loading into my outside leg properly, and because of that I wasn't able to drive through my hip, and that was reducing the amount of power that I could generate, and that was what was causing me to try and force my shots. So now this is the thing that I'm focusing on. So that's what I'm focusing on within my practice to try and develop a high-level forehand. But the question for you is, what do you need to focus on? Because as I said at the start, the real secret to developing a high-level forehand is understanding the process, identifying the limiting factors within your strokes, working on fixing the underlying problem, structuring your practice in the right way so that you can get enough repetitions at the right level of difficulty to allow you to develop a new habit. And if that's something you would like help with, you might be interested in a free live workshop that I'm holding pretty soon. In this workshop, I'm going to be teaching you how you can use brain-based training to change your tennis level. Day one is all about analyzing your technique and working out how to structure your practice. And then the rest of the week, I'm going to be teaching you how to train and improve vision and balance and coordination to raise your skill level, because the way that you become a better player is one, well-structured practice, but also increasing how your body functions. Because if you want to play high-level tennis, you need to be able to see and move like a high-level player. So I'll place a link to that free workshop down in the description. If you're interested in attending, click on that link. It'll take you over to a page that'll explain more and allow you to register. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful. If it has, it'd be much appreciated if you could give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, it always helps me out if you could do that. Obviously, if you have any questions about what I've talked about here, any comments, I would love you to leave them down in the comment section. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time.